Oh boy, looks like we got more insane rantings from a former drug-fueled lunatic that now is also a liberal lunatic. And of course, this is not a skit from Saturday Night Live. This is an actual real clip.
No. I didn't, I experimented with drugs in high school. But drugs as an issue did not occur until crack.
Crack is whack, kids, as of course it makes you lose your mind and have really crazy, weird political positions, as of course we are going to be examining from Hunter Biden. That looks like he is unleashed in an interview right now with a very popular YouTuber that's getting a lot of attention. As of course, this to me signals the very desperate notion of the Democrats trying to claw back their influence, as of course they're losing all of it with their insane ramblings, and I think they're only going to lose that much more as they have just lost one of their main central figureheads, Stephen Colbert, their lovely puppeteer of the establishment that regurgitates everything that the establishment wants them to say, as now they're like, holy cow, we got to get in the podcast game? Really? Yep. And that comes with some really kind of honest, genuine type of conversations, which some people would argue Hunter Biden just had in the most wrong of ways. If you like these type of videos, subscribe, click the notification button. As of course, we got a lot to get into as the new podcast bros are looking weird. That's perfectly highlighted by the weird kind of videos and interviews that we are being inundated with. As it's pretty clear here during the last election cycle, it was the Theo Vons, the Joe Rogans, the Tim Dillons, the people who are able and willing to have honest, earnest type of conversations that really pushed the needle as the corporate media threw everything they had at Donald Trump. Overwhelmingly negative news coverage. Overwhelmingly everyone in the top of Hollywood, all of the P. Diddy connected people who partied with all of them thrown to the front. Beyonce, Oprah, Obama. And they couldn't significantly push the needle. Why? Because of real, honest, genuine type of conversations that now these stooges are trying to have here. As of course, these type of conversations, even though they're kind of bewildering, especially when it comes to conversations about crack, but they are kind of personable. It's like, yeah, I want to hear from a crackhead. I want to know what the crackhead is thinking. And will this strategy work? Well, we're going to examine that in this particular video. As of course, there's a lot to get into when it comes to this new form of media warfare that these guys are still absolutely horrible at. As of course, you could just see, man, no balls on a lot of these people. As people in the comment section are saying, these lady legs here, as people are saying, all these people should be behind bars. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. As I think they got it wrong when they thought tucking in your junk meant being like Tucker Carlson. As of course, right now, we're hearing that Barack Obama is lawyering up to potential charges that he might be facing, as this administration has just released very important information about how Barack Obama was involved in a criminal conspiracy against then President Donald Trump here. As of course, Barack Obama has just done his first big podcast interview with his wife that launched a major podcast show on YouTube. Gavin Newsom still has his podcast and is interviewing people, and now enters the race Hunter Biden. And I think the left is panicking because their sphere of influence clearly was deflated. Clearly isn't as impactful as the podcast bros. Now, it's very interesting. All the podcast bros have kind of turned their back on Donald Trump, especially with all the latest kind of Epstein stuff, the Iran war, the kind of support for Ukraine here, all of the things that they kind of cheerleaded Donald Trump for that he hasn't delivered on, that has disappointed a lot of the big significant podcasters that a lot of people perceived to be on the right. And I was saying they're not on the right because this was about essentially just having real, honest, legitimate conversations. Donald Trump was able to, of course, do that in a way that Kamala Harris couldn't, as it was pretty clear here that Donald Trump was very kind of natural when it came to speaking and having long-form types of conversations that the Democrats were always shying away from, mainly because the Democrats were, in my opinion, more full of ish during this election cycle. Now, I think a lot of people are realizing, yeah, the other side was pretty full of ish too. But now with the loss of Stephen Colbert, who's going to be out of this major CBS job, as of course his ratings comparatively to the corporate media were pretty good compared to all the other late night TV show hosts that regurgitate pretty much the same establishment talking points every single night. This is now Democrats are demanding an investigation into why Colbert was canceled. And again, the guy had like a staff of 200 people to run one show. Okay? The staff here is 3 people, by the way. The guy made sure that his show was losing significant, huge sums of money. That's why he's canceled, because the game is being changed here. And the sphere of influence no longer relies on the big establishment players here. As, of course, in a very similar type of energetic move here, like the WNBA players that are delusionally asking for more pay here. We have Hunter Biden that is now making the case here for low-wage immigrant workers to do the dirty jobs that he refuses to do. Very same type of energy as entitled WNBA players. Oh, that give us more money. As, of course, we have to understand here that right now he is demanding that all of the people that were deported to El Salvador be deported back immediately. Many of them are, of course, criminals, as he would describe of what he would do if he was president of the United States, and that he, of course, would threaten an invasion of El Salvador. Sounds like something a junkie. Hey, give us back our cheap labor. We're going to invade you. Sounds like someone who, of course, doesn't want to do the work and labor himself here, and is allergic, as, of course, his affluence has allowed him to, of course, live a life that is totally privileged.
For someone, am I going to be like all these Democrats say, you have to talk about and realize that people are really upset about illegal immigration. Fuck you. How do you think your hotel room gets cleaned?
Yeah. Yeah. You think Americans are going to be doing that job? No. To me, I want the cheap illegal slave labor that, of course, is afraid of being deported at any time that could work for cheaper wages. We want the wages to go down. I want my hotel room cleaned. Very Kelly Osbourne of him, as, of course, a lot of immigrants should look at this man. You just want me to have the cheap jobs here? You just want to import me? As, of course, before talking about that, playing the full clip and playing the full kind of meltdown here, we wanted to tell you about our store. We have a great store, and we are change.shop. You go down here, and one of the great products that we have here is takecalm.com. It's its own separate website as well, takecalm.com. And you get this little tincture here, 1,000 milligram. We only have 39 left. It's a really great product. I did 2 years of research on this particular product because I dealt with, a lot of problems before, especially when it came to my own personal health, my own personal decisions. I dealt with anxiety. I dealt with panic attacks. I was like, what in the world is going on here? And I didn't like that feeling. This was a crutch to help me through those times while I worked on bigger things. Because again, we have to understand here, we do damage to our systems in a long time period without realizing it. It's like, oh yeah, I'll have that dessert. Yeah, I'll sleep later. Yeah, I'll booze. And I'm like, those actions have consequences, especially when they add up here. And people think, I'm going to fix it right away. That's not how it works here. It takes, just as long as how much you were building the problem in order to fix the problem. And working on your diet, on your sleep, on your exercise are some of the key things that you should do. And I started to do. But at the meantime, I was like, I will look for a little bit of a crux. And CBD was a crux for me because I was like, man, I'm dealing with this stuff. What helps? People said CBD. I took CBD. I was like, this kind of helped here. And then I was like, okay, I sourced different ones. I was at the gas station. I was like, yeah, I'll take this. And I'm like, this is crap. And I feel worse. I'm like, why? Because not all CBD is sourced the same way. Ours is sourced in America, produced in America. It is a made in an America product. And it's some really good, powerful stuff here that is full spectrum hemp extract. And the stuff doesn't give you a buzz. It makes me feel good. It calms me down. If I want to do a deeper kind of meditation session, I can't recommend meditation and praying enough. If I want to do a deeper type of session, I just take some of this. If I'm like dealing with a very stressful day, I'm like, oh man, sleep is going to be a little tough today. I take a little bit of this, and it helps me. Now, I used to have this everywhere because I used to deal with the kind of anxiety and problems that I was dealing with. So I just had it everywhere all around me. Now I no longer have it because I was able to work on my sleep, my diet, my exercise, which I think is absolutely critically important for all of us to work on. But this stuff, really great stuff. Some people say it's also a great anti-inflammatory. It's a great way to, of course, calm down the central nervous system. It helps me. It might help you. Do your own research before putting anything into your own body on wearechange.shop. Now, let's continue on into this kind of unhinged rant. Hunter Biden. It's like, hey, clean my room, Mexican. I want to live in a world of affluence. My daddy's given me everything in my life. At the expense of the American taxpayer. But hey. He's rigged the system for his own personal wants and needs. Of course, the guy's riding on a full pardon, so he could do and say whatever he wants.
How do you think you got food on your fucking table? Who do you think washes your dishes? Who do you think does your fucking garden? Who do you think is here by the fucking sheer fucking just grit and will that they figured out a way to get here because they thought that they could give themselves and their family a better chance?
No, it was mainly a democratic ploy with the UN organizations being like, Orale, Juan, come over here. Look, we'll give you a map. We'll tell you where to go. We'll here's the Catholic organizations. We'll hook it up, baby. We got you. We got a credit card in New York City. We get free money. You want to stay at the nice hotels? $500 a night. You get it for free. Taxpayer down, baby. Let's go. Andale. That's what happened here. There's a new form of immigrants that, of course, were allowed into the Biden administration that were, of course, baited in, told to come on in, promised a whole bunch of stuff. And you saw that from interviews. Now, there is a portion of the immigrants that are hardworking, that are gritty, that are out there to create something, make something out of themselves, to actually provide something. But when you're saying, oh, it's free, come on in, you incentivize a lot of bad people to come in, as, of course, other countries literally release their prisons and said, just go to the U.S. You're no longer a problem. Go. And, of course, then we had the migrant gangs, and then, of course, we had the massive increases of crime and a lot of activities that took advantage of the American taxpayer and really didn't work good for the average American. As, of course, the cost of housing went up. More people coming on in. What is it, 20 million people? It estimated 20 million people coming on in. That, of course, increased the demand for housing, which made housing more expensive for the average American. Now you have a new labor force. You have a lot of labor. You increase the amount of labor you have. Oh, you also have a significant decrease in the cost of labor because now labor is more abundant, therefore it is more cheaper. Supply and demand type of economics. So I would argue that this guy is absolutely wrong in his kind of assessments here, especially with the policies that have wreaked havoc on the American middle class that him and his father cheerleaded.
And he's somehow convinced all of us that these people are the fucking criminals?
Yeah. Well, some of them were. There's a reason crime went up dramatically in a lot of these places. As, of course, I'm now thinking of Hunter Biden presidency. As, of course, the main part of his rant here that I thought was the most interesting and that people are picking up is how dare you deport people? How dare you try to... Listen, the onus is on the Democrats for bringing people in. As this was a very bizarre... this was a very bizarre interview. As he described that it's an effing crime with what Trump is doing. This was a 3-hour interview, and he talked about his crack use, his laptop scandal, and George Clooney's Biden op-ed. And then he said, F that guy. He was pissed at George Clooney, because if you remember, George Clooney, the CIA-connected type of actor, was a part of the kind of coup d'etat that happened against Joe Biden. Joe Biden and his surrogates are still kind of mad here that... the Democrats lost here, but they were losing with Joe Biden. Joe Biden's poll numbers. They took shots at Donald Trump that didn't work, and then they were like, okay, plan B, guys, plan B. We got to get Biden out of there. And what essentially was the biggest kind of pusher of the needle that pushed Joe Biden out of the presidential office was specifically this George Clooney op-ed saying, okay, guys, enough is enough here. Let's get him out of here. Now, another interesting part of this was his kind of deranged rantings about white men. Whites. As he's a white man himself. But just like the orthodoxy of the left here, they are thought, you got to hate white men. White men are evil. As he came out with a very crazy statistic that I haven't seen sourced anywhere, talking about white men in America, 45 times more likely to commit a violent crime than an immigrant. Listen there, Padre, I don't think that's the case here. And if you want to be talking about, crime and race, I don't think you're ready for that type of conversation. I think when you start to delve into that conversation, especially with the level of black inmates that are being categorized as white, you look at that. That right there is even more indicative of some bigger problems that I think our society is dealing with here. But I think this really highlights the kind of orthodoxy that he made it pretty clear here. White man bad, white man evil.
We sit here and we talk about the one guy because there's a clear legal path to being able to get him back. What about all those other people? Am I not supposed to feel for someone? Am I going to be like all these Democrats say, you have to talk about and realize that people are really upset about illegal immigration. Fuck you. How do you think your hotel room gets cleaned? How do you think how convinced all of us that these people are the fucking criminals? White men in America are 45 more times likely to commit a fucking violent crime than an immigrant. And the media says, well,
those white men, guys, those white men, I'm telling you. Yeah, a ridiculous notion, especially with the way that we saw crime being categorized, excused by a lot of the woke district attorneys that allowed people to literally get away with violent crime in New York City and in other, quote, sanctuary cities where a lot of the local citizenry was preyed upon and screwed over.
You got David Axelrod and, Rahm fucking Emanuel. Was so fucking smart, Rahm Emanuel. He said, we got to understand that these people are really mad. And we got to appeal to these white voters.
Whoa, those white people, so evil, so bad. As, of course, that's what won Trump the election. Okay, immigration was one of the main issues. And so was, of course, the other things. Like, hey, I'm going to do disclosures. I'm going to hold them accountable. Hey, they just arrested me. Gloves are off. I'm going to take care of the corruption in our system. But I think the main issue that the vast majority of Americans voted for was immigration, saying it's a little ridiculous to have an open door here. All right? You told everyone that's American or was going through the legal status they needed to have procedures while people were just walking in and out of the country like they chose to. And then we rolled out the red carpet, and then we gave them everything that they wanted. Vast majority of Americans were like, I'm being screwed over here. I don't want that, okay? Corporations could have their cheap slave labor so they could do your dishes, and they could clean your hotel room to the point where it's becoming a little ridiculous. And he's now pushing against one of the biggest notions that won Trump the election.
Ron, the only people that fucking appealed to those fucking white voters was Joe Biden, 81 years old, and he got 81 million votes, and he did
I don't know about that.
because not because he appeased their fucking Trumpian sense, but because he challenged it. And he said, you can be an 81-year-old Catholic from fucking Scranton that doesn't understand it, but still has empathy for transgender people and immigrants. Then nobody said, oh, Joe Biden's going to turn us into a socialist state, no matter how much they said it. But these guys think that we need to run away from all values in order for us to lead. I say,
so he wants to double down on the things that cost him the election. Great idea. I like it.
fuck you. How are we getting those people back from fucking El Salvador? Because I'll tell you what, if I became president in 2 years from now.
Oh, boy. Listen, maybe Hunter Biden is the president we deserve.
Or 4 years from now, or 3 years from now, I would pick up the phone and call the fucking president of El Salvador and say, you either fucking send them back or I'm going to fucking invade. It's a fucking crime what they're doing.
Invading El Salvador. Well, listen, America does have a long history of invading and creating banana republics here. I found what he said about George Clooney interesting here because he kind of raged against the Democratic establishment. Now, the Democratic establishment failed. Now, to double down on the things that they failed on. I mean, he went after some of the biggest players: James Carville, David Axelrod. He continued. Rahm Emanuel, George Clooney, and you can see he's pissed. The Bidens are pissed about what happened here, as people now are posting these images saying, "Can you imagine President Hunter Biden?" Listen, it would be a very interesting time here, as the guy has done a lot of very interesting things during his life here that could scream a big type of redemption arc here. And listen, if Americans love anything, it's a big kind of comeback story. It's a big redemption story. As the president of El Salvador said, "Is Hunter Biden sniffing powdered milk?" As this was a very bizarre interview. It definitely seems very unhinged of an interview. But when we look at Hunter Biden, I mean, I think his skeletons are a little bit too big to get into here, specifically when it comes to a lot of the kind of very weird, awful stuff that he was doing. Now, why is he speaking out now? I think the left is just throwing everything that they can in the podcast world, trying to get any kind of sense, any kind of footing here in this new type of media landscape. And I think there's like, screw it, long shot. Let's see what Hunter Biden, let's see, president, let's see if that works. Put him on the podcast. Let's go. We need podcasts. They're killing us with these podcasts. They're getting all the views. They're getting all the... We need our own podcast. Will it work? What do you think? Get yourself some CBD. Don't do crack. Try to stay as natural as you can. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more. All here exclusively on youtube.com/wearechange.